Diet is not the most important lever when it comes to health or longevity. I regret to inform the holistic health movement that your organic blueberries, your $600 worth of supplements, your red light panels, your grounding mats, and your 47 daily biohacks are not going to save you from having the physical capacity of a houseplant. This is one of the biggest things I see people miss. You become so obsessed with what goes into your body that you completely neglect what your body is actually capable of doing. And those are not the same question. One of them you can buy your way through. The other one you cannot. You can order the input. You have to earn the output. So this one is going to be uncomfortable. And I'm going to say it in the order it actually matters. Look at what gets your attention. You obsess over food quality, seed oils, food dyes, pesticides, supplements, toxins. You can name the additives in a product you're never going to buy. Meanwhile, you have no muscle, you have no strength, you have terrible cardiovascular fitness. You barely walk. You don't lift anything heavy. You don't sprint. You don't challenge your heart. You don't progressively overload your muscles. And somehow you think putting the most pristine food imaginable into that body is going to compensate for never actually using the body. I promise you it won't. Because there is no amount of clean eating that builds a muscle. There is no supplement that loads a bone. Food is an input. Capacity is an output. And you have been optimizing the input while producing nothing. If we're talking about longevity, physical fitness is not some optional accessory you add after you've perfected your diet. Maintaining muscle mass, strength, cardiorespiratory fitness, balance, and physical function are among the strongest predictors of healthy aging and survival. Read that list again. Not one item on it comes from a grocery store. Muscle is metabolic tissue. It is a major site for glucose disposal. Strength helps you maintain physical independence, which is the thing nobody thinks about until the day they need it. Resistance training helps preserve bone and connective tissue. And cardiovascular training improves the capacity of your heart, your lungs, your blood vessels, and your mitochondria to actually do their jobs. Every one of those is something you have to earn by doing. None of them arrive because you shopped carefully. And notice what physical independence actually means. It means getting off the toilet without help, carrying your own groceries, getting out of a car. Nobody puts that on a vision board at 35. And it is the single thing that decides what the last 20 years of your life look like. Here's the version of this that actually matters. And it's not abstract. When you're 75 and you trip on a curb, the question isn't going to be whether you ate all organic. The question is whether you have the strength, the balance, the bone density, the muscle mass, and the cardiovascular reserve to get back up. And without having broken your hip. That's the whole thing. That's the test you're actually training for, and you don't get to know the date. A fall at 80 hits very differently when you've spent the previous 40 years building a body that can withstand physical stress, versus spending them optimizing your grocery list. Both of those people were trying to be healthy. Only one of them built something. Now let me tell you something that absolutely destroys the internet's obsession with dietary perfection. I've been around a lot of athletes. Professional athletes. A shocking number of extremely fit people do not eat a perfectly clean diet. Most don't eat organic. A lot eat fast food. Some eat candy. Some eat an absolutely ridiculous amount of food. And they have phenomenal physiques, incredible work capacity, and exceptional metabolic fitness. Now, are there genetic outliers? Obviously, that can be true. Does diet quality matter? Of course it does. Nobody is telling you to go eat garbage. But you've completely lost the plot if you think the difference between health and disease is whether your potato was organic, while ignoring the fact that you haven't challenged your cardiovascular system in 6 months. Think about what that comparison is actually telling you. It isn't that food doesn't matter. It's about the size of the levers. One of these people has built a body with enormous capacity and eats imperfectly. The other has built no capacity at all and eats immaculately. And the second one is convinced they're the healthier of the two. This is where carbohydrates get completely misunderstood. People constantly ask me, what are the good carbs? What are the bad carbs? I saw you eating that. Isn't that going to spike insulin? Here's the thing. A physically active, muscular person has a different metabolic environment than a sedentary person with very little muscle. Muscle contraction increases glucose uptake. And regular resistance and endurance training improve insulin sensitivity and glucose disposal. That's one reason I keep telling people to stop being terrified of carbohydrates and start building the machinery that can actually use them. No, this does not mean candy and sweet potatoes are nutritionally equivalent. They clearly aren't. But if you're training hard, accumulating steps, building muscle, and actually using your body, carbohydrates are fuel, not something that needs to be feared. The bigger problem is that many people have built almost no metabolic sink for glucose because they have almost no muscle and very little physical activity. So they look at carbohydrates as the enemy, when the real problem is that they have spent years refusing to build the physiology capable of handling them. Then there's intensity. Because I'm sure some of you technically work out. You walk around the gym, you do a few machines, you perform 14 beautifully controlled repetitions with absolutely no intention of ever becoming stronger. You finish your workout looking exactly as you did when you walked in. That's not training. Your body adapts to demand. That's the entire mechanism. If you want more muscle, you need to give it a reason to build more muscle. If you want greater cardiovascular capacity, you need to challenge the cardiovascular system. If you want stronger bones, you need mechanical loading. If you want greater physical resilience, you need to progressively expose your body to physical stress. When people see me training, I've had friends tell me they know they need to stop screwing around because the intensity changes the entire environment. That's what training should do. It should demand something from you. You should leave knowing that your body had to adapt. And this is where most people quietly opt out. Not because they don't have time, and not because they don't know what to do, because training that works is uncomfortable. And the version that isn't uncomfortable still counts as having gone to the gym. You can log the hour either way. Only one of them changes anything. And underneath all of this, there's something harder to say. They want the blood work to look better without changing the habits that cause the blood work to get worse. They want to eat whatever they want, never move, sleep like garbage, stay stressed, avoid discomfort, and then find the perfect supplement, peptide, medication, or hack that magically fixes everything. They don't want health, they want permission. Permission to keep doing the things destroying their health without having to face the consequences. They want fat loss without changing their relationship with food. They want muscle without lifting consistently. They want energy without sleeping enough. And here's the uncomfortable truth. Your body is not broken because it refuses to adapt to a lifestyle that is working against it. Your body is doing exactly what it was designed to do. It is responding to the signals you give it. You cannot out-supplement poor habits. You cannot out-medicate a terrible lifestyle. You cannot hack your way around the fundamentals. So here's the formula. And I'll warn you, it's boring. Lift weights consistently. Keep and build muscle. Get lots of steps in. Do some hard cardio every week. Eat mostly single-ingredient whole foods that require cooking. Get enough sleep. Manage your stress. Get your sunlight. Repeat that for years. That's it. That's the whole thing. And it does not all have to happen in a gym. One of my workouts recently wasn't in a gym at all. About 9 miles on the trail. Somewhere around 15 to 20,000 steps. Roughly 2,000 feet of elevation gain. No cardio session, no structured training. Just movement, the way the human body was designed to move. The kind of effort that restores you instead of draining you. Sometimes recovery is not lying on a couch doing nothing. Sometimes recovery is using the body hard enough to remember you have one. You don't need optimal until you've spent a long time doing what's realistically doable. Most people never need optimal because they're still leaving massive gains on the table from the fundamentals. And notice something about that list. The big levers are free, which is exactly why the people selling things try to minimize them and maximize what they can profit from. Meanwhile, some of you are spending 45 minutes researching whether your toothpaste contains something you can't pronounce, while your body is frail and your heart is weak. You'll spend $300 on supplements but won't spend an hour lifting weights. You'll buy a grounding mat, but won't walk 10,000 steps in a day. This isn't holistic health. It's selective health obsession. Real health is not just about what you put into the body. It's also about what you ask the body to do. You don't need to choose between eating well and training hard. You can do both. But if you have to choose between spending another 2 hours researching food ingredients and going into the gym and working your ass off, for the love of God, go train.